Welcome back to Just the Facts, y'all. My name is Jimmy, and we got Nuggets and Blazers now, so y'all can tell by the title and thumbnail, our next NBA playoffs preview and prediction video. Let's get straight into it. This was the hardest series for me to pick a winner in. Nuggets, on the other hand, without Jamal Murray, I think the series would have been easier for me to pick if Jamal Murray was present for the Denver Nuggets. But since he's not there, it became a harder series for me to pick. So let's get into it. First question I have is, how the hell are the Blazers going to guard Nikola Jokic? Because Jusuf Nurkic is not a bad defender when he's on the court, but once you get him, in the post, he's not a bad defender, but once you get him moving around and, Jokic is doing his handoff plays and his pick and rolls, pick and pops and all that stuff, can Jusuf Nurkic really get out there and really guard that stuff? I don't think he can as much, but, this is just not a good matchup for the Blazers from that standpoint. Nurkic tends to get in foul trouble a lot of the time, and that's due to him being slow-footed and him trying to catch up to the offensive player, or him putting his hands in a cookie jar, reaching in, or something like that. And with Nikola Jokic, that he has to guard throughout the entire course of a series, it's not looking too good for Portland. I mean, it's pretty much pick your poison here. Either Jokic is going to get his, he is going to get his regardless, but he's either going to absolutely dominate and destroy the Blazers or with his scoring, or he's going to dominate and destroy the Blazers with his passing. Pick your poison. But if they were to double Jokic in the post or whatever, you got Michael Porter Jr. cutting to the basket. You got Will Barton and Monte Morris standing out for three. It would be even more deadly if Jamal Murray was out there, but he's not. But the Nuggets have such a well-oiled machine that it almost doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't matter that Jamal Murray's not there. That's kind of discrediting him as a player. But they still can get the job done without him. And that's the really good part. That's the really fun part about the Nuggets, is like the next guy can always step up. Monte Morris is been one of the best backup point guards in the league for the last couple years or so. And then you got Michael Porter Jr. Let's touch on him real quick. I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to have a breakout performance in these playoffs. I think, this is his time. No Jamal Murray. They might double Jokic. This is Michael Porter Jr. time. Can he average 25 in a series? I think so. No matter if Rocco's guarding him or Norman Powell or whoever the hell Portland wants to put on him, they don't even have many options at that point of who they can really stick on him. Maybe Derrick Jones Jr. has to come in and provide a spark, but he's a liability offensively. So the Blazers are going to have to, they really got their work cut out for them guarding Michael Porter Jr., all his handoffs with Jokic, their two-man game. There's a good amount of guys to attack. You can attack Dame, you can attack CJ, you can attack Melo. They'll get him in some action. It'd be interesting to see what Aaron Gordon does. I don't want to see Aaron Gordon settling for jump shots like that. He can hit the shot occasionally, but where his bread is butter is like driving and finishing and post-ups and all of that stuff, attacking mismatches and things of that nature. Because as we remember, Jeremy Grant was so good for the Nuggets last year, both offensively and defensively. It's going to be hard for Aaron Gordon to fill those shoes, but I think he can for the most part. Paul Millsap's still there. He's getting a little older. Jermichael Green is there now. I think they'll be fine offensively, but I'm just saying, Aaron Gordon can be a real contributor in this series. We will see early on in this series if the Blazers are going to be awake for the Nuggets offense in terms of the cutting to the basket and the fake handoffs, the fake cuts to the basket, all of those things that the Nuggets like to do. That makes them so hard to guard at times. We're going to see if the Blazers are up for that challenge. If I'm the Blazers right now, I'm like, okay, Jokic can do whatever he wants. He can average 30 and 15 or whatever. But let's not let the other guys get going. Let's keep the other guys in check. That would be my mindset coming into this series. But overall, I think for the Blazers to have success against the Nuggets offense and Jokic in particular, they're going to have to meet him with resistance. Like how I said, the Clippers didn't meet resistance with Luka, and that's why Luka was able to be super successful. The Clippers also weren't showing any resistance to Jokic, and that's what allowed the Nuggets to have that 3-1 comeback. They would soft the double team Jokic, but the double team wouldn't be hard enough to the point where Jokic is having trouble passing the ball. the double team came so slow and it was predictable. Like, you saw Paul George coming, and Jokic knows exactly where to go every single time with it. He was picking the Clippers apart with that. If you're going to double team Jokic, you have to meet him with resistance. You have to be unpredictable with it. Sneak a guy from the baseline. Make it a hard double team so the pass is harder for Jokic, and then the other guys on the back end, the other three guys, have to scramble and get back into position. Now, on the offensive side for the Blazers, will Dame see two guys when he comes off screens? Will CJ see two guys when he's coming off of screens? I think the Nuggets are just going to have to live with a guy like Norman Powell having a game where he shoots 5 of 10 from 3, a game where he scores 24 points and gets to the free throw line a bunch of times. And I think Nurkic in the post can do some damage against Jokic. He can really, I would try to go to him early on and see if he can get Jokic into foul trouble, because Jokic is sometimes susceptible to foul trouble and things of that nature, getting him out the game, a little longer than he otherwise would have. Nurkic is more than capable of scoring in the post over Jokic. I would go to it a couple times, not too many times, because at that point you would kind of be wasting possessions, taking the ball out of Dame and CJ's hands for extra possessions. You don't want that, obviously, if you're the Blazers. But giving the ball to Nurkic just adds another dynamic to the offense. And his Cantor, I think, can also do some damage, obviously, especially on the offensive glass. He can post up. He can shoot a little mid-range here and there. But in his Cantor, I'm not expecting him to be too much of a factor, because, Jokic is going to eat that man alive. So Enes Kanter is going to be unplayable once again in the playoffs. I think the only time Enes Kanter wasn't unplayable in the playoffs was in 2019 when the Blazers made that run to the conference finals. It was kind of bearable, but most of the time, Enes Kanter, he's really good in the regular season, but once defenses in the playoffs really exploit mismatches and things like that, Enes Kanter is going to be picked apart right away, and he's going to be sitting on the bench for the most part, I think. And let's talk about Melo and how he's going to fit into all of this stuff. Well, first let me talk about this. The Blazers need to do a better job of making the right play. And I'm talking about the other guys, not Dame and CJ. I'm talking about the other guys, because whenever Dame gets trapped, we're going to see him get trapped. Even CJ might even get trapped or double teamed or things of that nature. When Dame or CJ makes that outlet pass in the middle of the floor, and it's Robert Covington or it's Nurkic or it's whoever, that guy has to be able to make the right pass immediately, because it can't just be the Damian Lillard show all day long. And I think that's really what really hurt the Blazers in the past couple years. They had Al-Farouq Aminu, they had Mo Harkless. They weren't really good offensive players, let's just be honest. They couldn't exploit and take advantage of the defense. They couldn't take advantage of the 4-on-3 matchup, especially when Dame's coming off of screens and he's getting trapped. That middle man has to be very, very effective. And I think putting Norman Powell near the middle, I'm not saying the Nuggets are going to play a zone or anything like that, but I'm saying having Norman Powell as the outlet man can really, really help out the Blazers offense when Dame and CJ are getting shut down or they don't have it going. I think we're going to have at least one Melo game where he just goes nuts and the Blazers win. It just seems like that's bound to happen. Melo always does that, but Melo, it's going to be tough with him as well, because he's going to have to guard Michael Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon or one of these guys, and Denver's going to put him in some action, or at least they should. So I'm not sure how effective Melo would be as a whole, but offensively he can still give you some buckets, man. He's gotten better in catch and shoot. Obviously with OKC and Houston, catch and shoot just wasn't really his thing. He was never used to that. He always had the ball in his hands, going ISO, post-ups, all those things. But he has improved in the catch and shoot area. He does post-up still. He's still unguardable at times. Can be inefficient, but you got to live with that. And I think the Blazers need at least one more guy, man, that can shoot, defend, and make a play off the dribble. Another wing player like that. The problem with the Blazers over the past couple years or so is that it's the Damian CJ show, and then they have 3-and-D players. 3-and-D players. Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu. They're just D players. They were just defensive players. They couldn't really hit threes like that. They couldn't really go off the dribble. And come playoff time, teams didn't really have to worry about them. And they have improved. They got Norman Powell, who's a 3-and-D type of player. He can put the ball on the floor. They got Robert Covington, who's an actual 3-and-D. He can make threes at a high level and defend at a high level. But he can't put the ball on the floor. Maybe they can live with that. We'll see. Man, I see the Nuggets winning this series in 6 or 7 games. It's going to be a really good series. It's going to be really close. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if Dame willed his team to a series win. Like I said, this was the hardest series for me to pick. Both of these rosters are pretty weird in my opinion. But this is what we have here with the Nuggets and Blazers, and I think it's going to be a real great series. CJ, I think he's going to have a big series as well. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Nuggets and Blazers, who wins, how many games, and why? Who's going to be the X factor of this series for either team? You let me know. But this is Jimmy from Just the Facts, and I'm signing out. Peace.